welcome to Top of the Hops. I am your host, Mike Riker, and joining me today is from E Street Radio. He's the great Jim Rotolo. Jim, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Mike. I'm so happy to do this. Thanks for having me.
So obviously you doing E Street Radio. Our theme today is obviously Bruce Springsteen. We're doing top 5 Bruce Springsteen albums. You got so much going on E Street Radio on Channel 20. You know, you're going 9 to 12 Monday through Friday, then back 5 to 8. You got The Wild and the Innocent on Fridays. You got Growing Up. I mean, you got so much going on. Tell us all about it.
Well, it's just so much fun. Just waking up every morning and talking with Bruce Springsteen fans, and of course playing the music and kind of talking about what's been going on in the world of Bruce and the members of the E Street Band. So we wake up every weekday morning and we do that. And and if somebody has a special request or something, somebody's having a birthday, I'm always there to do that. And we talk about some other things that are happening on the channel. So that's in the mornings from 9 to noon Eastern time, and then I come back later in the day from 5 to 8 Eastern, and again, talk about some things happening on the channel. Of course, playing all the great music and kind of going through some of the rarities and certain live cuts and demos and outtakes and even some covers in there as well. So that's all fun on a weekday basis. And then on Friday nights, we get the weekend started. We do a live open phone line request and dedication show. Each week I come up with different themes. It could be your favorite female character in a Bruce Springsteen song. Yeah. It could be your favorite Bruce songs from the 70s or things along that line. I come up with different ones from time to time.
That's and then awesome. You did top 5 and all those things. It's crazy how many themes you could do.
It's funny with the top 5 thing, especially what you've decided on for this episode, because I have something I want to mention about that. Last thing I want to mention is my Growing Up show, which is so much fun. I get to sit down, one-on-one with, some notable Bruce Springsteen fans from all walks of life, and talking to actors and actresses and musicians. And just recently I talked to Jim Allen, who's the CEO of Hard Rock International, super nice guy, Jersey guy. Loves his Bruce and his South Side, and we had great conversations about that. It's on the SiriusXM app if you want to check it out. So that's what I do all the time.
It's just tremendous. What a gig! I mean, I gotta say, I have SiriusXM. I'm a big Elvis fan. Yeah. So as far as those channels that just feature those artists, obviously Elvis is my number one. But boy, that Bruce channel, Jim, is just tremendous. Like you mentioned, it dives in not just into the the hits. It's about the outtakes. It's about the live tracks. The live collection out there is just so vast. It's incredible what you guys have.
Yeah, well, that's a big thanks to Bruce. Over the past. Yeah. Well, to start with, when the channel first started many years ago, he gave us full permission. And his quote, not mine, he said, "Anything you can find, you can use." That's so amazing. We had so many bootlegs over the years that people were sending us cassette tapes that were in their basements. It was just cool. And most recently he signed the deal with nugs.net. So now those concerts from the past 4 or 5 tours have been mastered properly and put out. So it's great that we have this relationship with them and with the Bruce Camp that we get all this music.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exciting to be a Bruce fan right now. I mean, you got the movie coming out. You have, track 2 just got released about a month ago. And now you got this Electric Nebraska that's coming out, in October. So, I mean, it's, even though he's kind of like in the twilight of his career, it seems like there's so much new stuff still coming out from Bruce. It's great. I love it.
It really is, for a man who's just turning, I think he'll be turning just 76 by the time this episode airs. There's no shortage of things happening with him. There's so much in the archives. When I talked to him about tracks 2, I asked him, that was my last question, is there anything left? And he said, yes, there's tracks 3 coming at some point. I don't know when, but it's coming. So, and who knows, he might have written an album while we're talking. He might have written an album.
Right. Yeah, it's fantastic, and the journey still continues. It's great. So we're doing a little bit different now. I know we talked in the pre-show. You originally said you wanted to do 5 beers with the 5 songs. He's like, well, maybe maybe a little too much. So now we're going to do.
We might not get to number 1 if I drink 5 beers.
That's why I'm a lightweight, Jim. So I got my 1, and that'll be it. So But as we do our top five, we'll intersperse some talk about Bruce and about beer. So,
Sure.
but before we do that, let's do it. Let's go to our number five Bruce Springsteen album. What do you have at number five?
All right, so number five, I'm going to throw everybody off on number five because this is the thing about top five lists, Mike. No matter what it is, it could be your top five favorite foods, it could be your top five favorite sports teams, it could be your top five favorite Bruce Springsteen albums. Your top three are easy. It's 4 and 5 because that's where the decision needs to be made. Because especially number five, I've done this dozens of times with people over the years, because when you say what number five is, the first reaction is, oh, you left off this album? How could you leave off this album? Right. So that's where we are. So my number five Bruce Springsteen album, I'm going to piss off all the purists. Western Stars is number five.
I love it. I love it.
It's a one-off project he did back in 2019. Has nothing to do with the E Street Band. It is a collection of great songs with an amazing band, and it's just this style of music in the vein of Jimmy Webb and Glenn Campbell, and this 70s pop California sound that he had been wanting to do for a long time. And he put this album out, and I love it from top to bottom. From Hitchhiking all the way down to Moonlight Motel, just a beautiful album. And if you get the soundtrack, he filmed it one time. They performed this in his barn on his house, on his property with the whole band that did this album. And as a bonus, you get the cover of Glenn Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy. It's just perfect, man. It's just such a perfect. It's a perfect summertime album for me.
Yeah, I like it too, Jim. It's obviously not my top five, but I like that. I'm partially a country fan, so it was so different from the realm of what he did, or obviously throughout his career. I like when artists take chances like that. It's a quiet tone that album. I did enjoy that. I would say I listened to it maybe like 3 or 4 times throughout my journey with Bruce, and we'll get into this. I'm a late bloomer when it comes to Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
So like this one came out, I listened to it a couple of times, and I enjoyed it. And you're right, the comparison to Glenn Campbell is a great one, because that's exactly what it reminded me of when I listened to it. It was like almost like Glenn Campbell in his later years.
Mm-hmm. And then you listen to the characters in the song that he's writing about. It's these old time, Western movie stars who are in their, their heyday is over. We just lost Robert Redford, Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. And you listen to that song, it's like, wow, that could be that guy, There's even a lyric in Western Stars, once I was shot by John Wayne. It was in the end. I can so relate to these characters. I feel like I'm in a bar and I'm having a beer and I'm talking with one of those people. So just a very solid songwriting from Bruce. I just love the album.
Yeah, and it reminded me too. I was a big fan of Yellowstone, the TV series, and it kind of had that kind of feel to it as well too, because they always had those country kind of like Western songs. And a couple of songs reminded me of songs of in that show. So that's an interesting choice. I love it. Now, did you like that album as soon as you heard it, or is that something that grew on you?
Yeah, well, so obviously working with Bruce and the camp, we were at the SiriusXM studios, and the label came over to play us new Bruce Springsteen music, and that's all they said.
Okay. Wow. That's
right. So now you're
crazy.
Now you're sitting in this boardroom with the sound system, and they said, "Here's the artwork." And I saw Western Stars.
Right.
And they explained a little bit where the music is from, and there's no E Street Band. This was a separate project that Bruce decided to do, and they played "Hello Sunshine," which was the first song that was released to radio, and I just enjoyed it right away. I found something so I don't know what it was, but it hit me right away. Like, oh, okay, this is where he's going with this. And then they played us, I think Tucson Train was next, and then the title track Western Stars, and I was like sold. I love this. This is going to be great. And in my head, I'm thinking like, how is he going to tour behind this? And then I thought, oh wow, how great would it be if he did this concert at the Hollywood Bowl? Beautiful starry night, the Hollywood Bowl in California, Western Stars. And upon completing that thought, I was quickly informed that he's not touring behind this album.
Yeah, so I was thinking more like Red Rocks too, like
sure,
like that.
Same kind of thing.
That would be cool too. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You have a beer to go with that album?
So what I do is I go to my I have a go-to beer. I'm a big IPA fan.
Me too, Jim.
I'm not but I guess if there's a way to say I'm a traditionalist in IPAs, I'm not a big fan of the juicies or the hazies. I'm just kind of a straight up kind of IPA guy. And the thing about them is you can't drink too many of them because they'll knock you on your ass. Yeah. So that's why I do enjoy a Founders All Day IPA.
Oh yeah, sure.
Classic. These are my go-tos because they're just they're light drinking and they're just easy. They're easy. Yeah. They're perfect for any time, as the label says, all day. So
absolutely, that's a classic one right there. I love Founders. I haven't had it in a while, but that one's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the beer, I'm gonna get my beer. So I only got one beer today because I'm a lightweight. So, but I was trying to look for in my beer distributor, trying to look for something from Jersey, and I found this, and I thought it was interesting. So it's from Jersey City, New Jersey, and it's the Departed Souls Brewing. And it's got, and this is actually a gluten-free IPA. I've never had a gluten-free beer before. So it's a West Coast, and it's called For My Home.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's got like the Statue of Liberty holding like the beer glass, which is kind of cool. I've never been to this brewery. Yes, in Jersey City. They do have it's not only gluten-free IPAs. They have other IPAs as well.
Right.
So this one I saw, so I've never had this before. So this is gonna be interesting as it foams up in my glass.
Yeah, that's what mine did too.
Yeah, so we'll pour that out. Yeah, very light. Looks like an IPA, very light, very orange, almost like a West Coast IPA, compared to an East Coast.
Great. Oh, it looks nice. Nice color.
Yeah, it does have a very nice color. A little, like I said, a little dark orange.
Yep.
And yeah, oh wow, you definitely smell that citrus right away. And you also very resinous. So let's take a hit. Cheers to you here.
Cheers to you. Thanks again for having me on.
And yeah, that's not bad. That's good. It's a little thin. You're definitely getting that IPA flavor of that grapefruit, orange. I'm actually getting a really big bite of lemon too with this. But it's good. It's a little thin for my taste, but it's not bad. For a gluten-free beer, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. Now, you mentioned IPA, like you said. So you're more of like a West Coast IPA, where it's more like, like resinous and a little bit more bite to it than the East Coast, where it's got a little bit more, like you said, juicier.
Yeah. I've just found myself gravitated. I think the first IPA I've ever had was Lagunitas.
Oh yeah, sure. Love Lagunitas. Yeah.
So that's where I think it started. It actually started with me with pale ales. My whole, I guess, history of drinking beer was, I think, what a lot of Americans grow up with, which is, the Budweiser and Coors Light. And
as I mentioned on previous episodes, Jim, like I'm a late bloomer and everything. So when it comes to Bruce and now it comes to beer, I really didn't get into my beer craze until I was in my mid 40s. I didn't like Bud Light, I didn't like Michelob, I didn't like Coors. I wasn't a fan of those beers. So in my drinking days, I really wasn't drinking much. I would have a vodka or a cocktail every once in a while, but beer I stayed away from. Then I started drinking a little Blue Moon, which I liked, and then Hogard was the one that really got me going.
Good beer.
I liked Hogard. Yeah, so those beers I really gravitated towards. And now I don't drink anything, nothing but beer now. I don't go for bourbon or vodka anymore. It's all beer. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I think the first IPA, I don't remember what it was, but the IPA I had, I think it was from the Bronx Brewery.
Okay.
They had an IPA, and I really liked it. And I've been a fan since. I know IPA is kind of in the beer world, kind of controversial. You either love it or you hate it.
That's true. Know? There is no middle with IPA.
No,
there really isn't.
No, there isn't. But I will say I drink a lot of IPAs early in my beer craze. I've kind of dialed that down even now a little bit. I've been more into like the lagers, and some of the I like some of the sours too. I'm not much of a dark beer fan. Like I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a big coffee guy.
Yeah.
So sometimes those heavy stouts with the coffee-based stouts, I'm not a fan of. You give me a chocolate-based stout, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
But as far as like just drinking day to day or on a weekend, I like my lagers and my IPAs. That's what I like to drink.
Yeah, that's usually where I'm at as well. I'm a big fan of drink local. So wherever I travel, whether it's in the United States or abroad, I want to know what the local beer is. And if it happens to be, a stout or a pilsner or whatever, I won't mind. I'll drink whatever it is because I always like to support the local breweries. And it's interesting living in New Jersey, how many breweries have come up over the years. I mean, beer's really taken off since we were younger. I mean, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure Al Gattulo. He hosts a beer cast on his show, and he talks about all these great breweries from Jersey, whether it be Wet Ticket or Bolero Snort and all those beers and breweries. And I have to get down to Jersey because the way he talks about some of those Jersey breweries, man, it sounds delicious. So, is there one brewery by you that you gravitate towards?
There's actually one from my hometown in a town called North Bergen, New Jersey. It's New Jersey Brewing Company.
Okay, I think I've had something from there.
I've had their Hudson Pale Ale, which is fantastic. I've seen it locally. They do sell it in stores, and even some bars have it on tap. So it's a good beer. There's another great brewery called Jersey Girl.
Okay.
Which I've had some of their beers as well, and if you head down towards the Jersey Shore, there's Big Man.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one. Really? Okay.
Yep, it's Clarence's family.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They're involved. They're members of his family it's called Big Man's Brew. It's an IPA. It's a great if you find it in the Asbury Park area, you'll notice the beer tap handle easily enough. It's a saxophone.
Oh, beautiful! So that's awesome.
If you're down in Asbury Park, you got to get yourself a Big Man's Brew.
And I remember I sent you something like almost like a Bruce Springsteen themed brewery out in College Station, Texas, which looks amazing. I mean, that's something I think I would love to see you there, man.
I mean, that sounds like a broadcast trip. I mean, it's easy enough,
right?
We'll have to get in contact with that brewery. That's amazing. In College Station, Texas, of all places. But
of all places, right? You wouldn't think of Bruce Springsteen in Texas. No, would go there. But I looked at it's called Backstreet's Brewery in College Station, Texas. I'll put the link in my description. It looks amazing. If I ever take a trip to Texas, that's going to be one place I definitely
Backstreet's Brewery, we're coming, buddy. We're coming.
I love it. So let's get back to the countdown. My number 5, I thought was also controversial because, doing research, looking at other people's top 5s, this did not make people's top 5s. But like I said to you before, I was a late bloomer when it came to Bruce. In the 80s, in my teens, Bruce didn't resonate with me right away. I wasn't crazy about Dancing in the Dark. I mean, I liked Born in the USA and all that. But the first song I really loved from Bruce was Brilliant Disguise. But again, I just never really got into the albums. But for some reason, I listened to this song that came out on the radio, and then I listened to a second song, and I have to get this album. And again, people might say, "Really, this album is your number 5?" But it just resonated with me for some reason, and that's Human Touch. I love the actual title track to that song.
Great song.
What got me, Jim, was, as I said before millions of times, I'm an Elvis fan. So when I heard 57 Channels and I heard him Elvis in that song. I'm like, I gotta get this album, and dive more into this album.
Yeah.
And boy, I was so happy when I first got it, and I got this with Lucky Town too.
Sure.
But this one was one that I really enjoyed. I played a lot. I know it's without the E Street Band. I like it though. I think it's not overly poetic. It's not overly like political. It's just kind of like Bruce at his raw human best. I really enjoyed this album, Jim.
I think Human Touch is one of the best songs he's ever recorded.
Me
I
too.
really do. It's a great story. I think every guy can be that character in that song. I think we've all been that person. I love it when he performs it live when he can. But those two albums in particular, Human Touch and Lucky Town, when you think about Bruce in the 80s, starting with, we'll say like post River, post Nebraska, like more Born in the USA and Brilliant Disguise, he really embraced more of the synthesizer during that time period, as many artists did in the 80s.
Sure.
But Human Touch and Lucky Town are guitar albums. It's a way of, to me, I always felt about those two albums, it was Bruce rediscovering the guitar again and how great of a guitar player he is.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even, Roll the Dice and Gloria's Eyes, those are some tremendous guitar riffs in those songs. And like I said, I love the rockers on that album. And so, I know it's not everybody's favorite, but like I said, that's the first Bruce Springsteen album CD I ever bought. So I know that's kind of like out of the ordinary, but that's what that gravitated towards that album for some reason. Yeah, so that's why it's my number 5.
Well, that's the thing, Mike. That's why I think 5's the hardest, because people will say, "Oh, you went with that?" Like, you need a reason. You gave us a reason. Good enough for me, Mike. I like it.
I appreciate it. All right, number 4, what we got?
All right, so number 4 is another one to me that's just I have a personal connection to it, and it's the Magic album, which came out in 2007. Now, at this point in my life, I started working at SiriusXM in 2004, and I was very fortunate that I was partnered with Dave Marsh, who was a Springsteen biographer, well-known rock critic, and of course had this connection to the Bruce Springsteen world. And growing up as a fan, I just was very lucky that I was put in this particular situation. So E Street Radio was there for a minute. We had it as sort of a pop-up channel when the Greatest Hits box set came out. Not the Greatest Hits, the Born to Run box set came out in 05. Right. But it wasn't meant to have this longevity like it does now. And so by 2000, and Bruce put out an album, in between. He put out Devils and Dust and the Seeker Sessions, and then, and then Magic shows up, and it's an E Street Band album. He's touring with the E Street Band again. This hasn't been done since the Rising Tour or the Vote for Change. So it's back there, and now I have access that I've never had before to meeting Bruce, to meeting members of the E Street Band. Amazing. To, I never had pit access before. I never did the lines. I never did any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And now I'm fortunate. Like I always say, I'm very thankful for the generosity that the camp has given me over the years. But now I'm there, and I'm closer to these hardcore fans, the people that have 20, 30 years of standing on lines and seeing Bruce. And I'm now amongst them, and I'm listening to them talk, and I'm like an outsider to this, even though I'm a big fan. But I'll always remember Magic and the tour for being the place where I sort of made my connection with more of the Bruce community. There's so many memorable shows from that tour that I went to, and it was just so nice to meet all the hardcore fans and get to know them a little bit and listen to their stories. As a future radio personality, because I wasn't on the air yet. I was behind the scenes. Wow. But I was listening to their stories and their experiences, and it was just so amazing. And just the album itself, I mean, Radio Nowhere, it's about us. It's about SiriusXM, bouncing off the satellite. Here was a new medium to listen to music, commercial free. Or you can have one artist, your favorite artist, just 24/7. There was all of this new technology that was happening. You could have it in your car, and you could drive from New Jersey to California, and you didn't lose reception. You know,
right.
things we take for granted now.
Yeah.
Before smartphones, even, and of course, you know, Radio Nowhere and Living in the Future and Gypsy Biker and Girls in Their Summer Clothes.
Great!
These songs are incredible.
Yeah. That's a great. That was close on my list, Jim. You know, Long Walk Home is one of my favorites.
Long Walk Home, right?
Yeah, Long Walk Home is great. I really like this album. Radio Nowhere is one of my favorites. You know, I think of Mad Dog Russo when I think of that song because that's his intro to, you know, for every show that he does. So, as you know, big Bruce fan, Mad Dog.
Yes.
So, yes, I think of him. But that's a great choice. Like I said, Living in the Future is another one I love too. That's Clarence Clemens at his best to me. Living in the Future. I just love it. Yeah, it's a really fun album. That's what I love about that album. It's a fun album.
It's fun. It has its political markers in there as well. Last to Die and of course the title track. You know, talking about what was going on in our country at the time. So Bruce felt the need to make touch points in there, which I understand.
Sure.
And that's why I just think it's a little bit of a sample of everything he does as a writer, especially with the E Street Band involved with it as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great choice. I really like that. Radio Nowhere is probably one of my top 5 songs that he does. The way that opens up that album is just fantastic. So yeah, that's a great choice. You have something there with?
I'm gonna. You know, I mentioned Asbury Park before, and I mentioned Big Man's Brew. I don't have one of them with me, but I do have another go-to favorite. This guy packs a punch, but again, you're bouncing around Asbury Park. You got to stop. You got to grab yourself an Asbury Park Brewery's Sea Dragon IPA. Okay. This one's a nice one. It's a 7%.
All right.
Again, it does have a little bit of citrus. You get the citrus in there. You get a little bit of pine, even. It's just another. Again, it's another smoother drinking IPA. You can see the color. Let me get the camera up a little bit here. The color on this baby.
There you go.
It's a little bit on the darker side, obviously, than the All Day that I was drinking. But this is another favorite of mine. It says it right on the can. Founded in Asbury by local musicians and beer freaks. So, those guys. Those are the people I like to hang with.
Sea Dragon. Okay. I gotta look for that one. Good.
This one's good. And Asbury Park Brewery makes other beers as well, but I do go with the Sea Dragon when I'm down there. So definitely pick that up as well.
Nice. What kind? Does it say what kind of hops they use in that one?
Let's see what they have. It just says, let's see, India Pale Ale. It just says on the can, hey, what can I say about our East Coast IPA? Perfect for good times or bad times, loaded with a whole lot of Misty Mountain hops for a huge nose of citrus and pine. Singing to the ocean, can you hear the ocean's roar?
Oh, nice. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. I love IPA like that. I do tend to go towards the East Coast ones. I'm opposite of you. I like the juicier tones to it. But the West Coast, listen, if someone gives me a West Coast, I'm fine with that too. But that sounds good. That's something I would be interested in. It seems like a little bit more. So is that more juicier than the Founders one?
Yeah.
More,
definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
That's fun. Yeah. So all right. So my number 4.
Cheers to you on that.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. Let's go. So my number 4 will probably be people's top 3, but it's my number 4. And that is Born in the USA. I listen, you got obviously what's great about this album is, to me, you got the major hits, obviously, Dance in the Dark and Glory Days, and Born in the USA, obviously. But to me, I think what stands out about this album, Jim, is the quote unquote filler songs. I love Darlington County. I love Cover Me. Working on a Highway is tremendous. My favorite song on that album is probably Downbound Train.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just very emotional. It's like haunting. It's atmospheric. It just paints a picture of loss. I just love that song. I'm on Fire gives me that Elvis kind of feel. I'm gonna bring Elvis back in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So it's got that little Elvis feel to it to me. I love that song. So again, like I said, I didn't get this album till later on in my life because I said I wasn't a fan of Dancing in the Dark originally. I wasn't, I like Glory Days and boy, it was okay. But as I got into my 30s and into my 40s, boy, Bruce really resonated with me. And then as I got older, it was like, what was wrong? What was wrong with 15-year-old Mike, man? Come on, what was I thinking? So it's just like, so this album really grew on me, and I love it. Again, No Surrender, Bobby G. It could go on and on.
Right.
But yeah, most people would put this probably in their top 3. It's my number 4. It's a great album. I mean, you could say to me, it made Bruce from kind of like that American icon to like a worldwide superstar. This album.
It did. You're absolutely right about that. And it was, most of it was off the back of Born in the USA, which, as we know, became this American anthem that was completely not that. If you thought about if you wrote the lyrics down instead of singing them and read them to yourself without any kind of music, you would realize this isn't what everybody thinks it is. And I guess we should just move right into this because this is my number 3 album, Born in the USA.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We can keep talking about this. This is great. Love it.
It's my number 3. Again, the history behind it. I'm a kid. Now, I have an older brother, so I was turned on to Bruce before Born in the USA, and that'll move us down the road a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah, when did your journey begin with Bruce? Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
It started. I was about 10 years old when that happened. So I'm 50. I'll be 54. So that was around 1980.
We're the same age. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where it started with me. But to get to Born in the USA, what was really nice about seeing the music video for Dancing in the Dark and how everybody in school fell in love with this song, it was nice to feel vindicated. Like, I've been listening to this dude for years, and I think he's fantastic. So everybody sort of knew who he was at this point. And it was the age of the mega album. You think about 1984, obviously Thriller, Born in the USA, Purple Rain, Madonna's Like a Virgin, Van Halen's 1984, Lionel Richie's album, all these mega albums. They didn't just sell 1 million. They sell multi-millions, platinum on top of platinum, and then tours behind him. Bruce went into the stratosphere, to this other place. He became a superhero. He became, like you said, a worldwide phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing because I think most people, even to this day, and I travel a little bit to Europe, you mentioned the words Bruce Springsteen or the name Bruce Springsteen, and people go right away, and whatever language they speak, they go Born in the U. And it's like, that's not it, but okay. If that's what you like. And it's funny because he does perform it. He performs Born in the USA more in Europe than he does in the United States.
Interesting. That makes sense, especially during these times, unfortunately. Yeah, that does make sense that he would do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's funny because people do sing along with that song, and it feels like, are you really listening to the lyrics of this song? But it's a great tune. Don't get me wrong, but
it is.
Yeah,
obviously.
and I love. What did you think of the Born in the USA that just came out? I listened to it.
The Electric Nebraska version.
Yeah, that's the Nebraska version.
It's amazing. It's a punk rockabilly sound. It's performed as a 3-piece. It's just Bruce, Max Weinberg, and Gary Talent on it. And it's so cool. It's what you would think your local punk band, like, that's just playing the clubs nearby or trying to learn how to play. It's like, it's what it sounds like to me. And I think it's great. I mean, obviously the demo version, the acoustic one he did during the Broadway show, that's what he does on the 12-string. I love that version.
Sure,
because the lyrics really pop when you listen to it with that kind of a background.
Yeah, it does.
But aside from just Born in the USA, I mean, and Dancing in the Dark, which was custom made for what MTV was doing at the time. You know, MTV, sure. I was a huge music video guy.
Yeah.
Glued to MTV. So seeing people, you know, performing, or, you know, you would fall in love with songs, and, you know, you would, because you started, and I had this conversation with Dave Marsh many years ago, because we were talking about certain bands and artists. And I said, Dave, you have to remember, I'm from a generation that watched music more so than listened to it. Because you could have a great song, but if your video sucked, you wouldn't be as into the song as much. It's just the way we were wired, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point. And you forget how good his videos were during that time too. I mean, just watching, like you said, Dancing in Glory days, you know, him, you know, pitching on the mound, and even I'm on Fire, where he's kind of like, you know, with the girl, and, you know, kind of hesitating with the keys and stuff like that. There's always a story, it seemed like. You know, obviously Outside Dancing in the Dark was like more like a concert video, but there was always a story to his to those songs on Born in the USA, which I love. I love those videos. They were great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Glory Days in particular. So now it's I'm in the 7th grade. It's the summer of '84, I guess it is, '84 or '85. I can't remember exactly. Glory Days is the single. I'm on my Little League All-Star team. I'm 12 years old. We're kicking ass all over New Jersey. We're winning tournaments, and we just keep traveling. And traveling meant you piled in somebody's parents' car and you drove somewhere. And just, you know, I can remember that summer of listening to Z100, the top 40 station in New Jersey, New York area. And I mean, Glory Days was on all the time, and we would always be singing it in the back. But the other thing about Glory Days is the music video.
Yeah.
So the baseball scene that you're talking about is filmed 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. It's a town called, this is confusing. It's a town called West New York, New Jersey.
Okay.
They have a stadium there called Miller Stadium. I played football. I played high school football and baseball on that stadium. That's the stadium where they filmed the video, the pitching scene.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the bar scene was a well-known music venue down in Hoboken that sadly isn't around anymore, called Maxwell's. Maxwell's in Hoboken was a place similar to like CBGB's in New York City, in the sense that everybody played there. Like Green Day played there, Nirvana played there. All the Red Hot Chili Peppers played there. Yo La Tengo, all of these up-and-coming bands who became something, they made a stop somewhere along the way at Maxwell's, and it was one of those places. It's no longer there anymore, sadly. But again, so that all happening in my neighborhood, the filming, the closing off the streets, Bruce Springsteen mania was so in this area at this point in my life. I'm so attracted to the Born in the USA album for those reasons, as well as, of course, all of the great music. You know, Downbound Train. I like Downbound Train. I think it's something about it. I laugh when I tell people about this. I like the ending of the song.
Okay.
Because it's kind of haunting. I don't like it that it's over, but I like that it's kind of has this haunting, like, what's going to happen to me kind of thing, because of everything the guy's been through. And Cover Me, because the guitar work is brilliant in it.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah.
You know.
Very, very much so. Now, let me ask you about Bobby Jean. Was that supposed to be like a goodbye letter to Steven Van Zandt? It was.
All arrows point that direction.
Okay.
Because there was conversations of Steve leaving the band during the whole process of making the album.
Sure.
So for whatever reasons came about, that's what happened there. So yeah. But I mean, I'm sure Bruce would tell you other things if you wanted to talk to him about that.
I'm sure. You know, you brought up a great point. You know, during my teen years, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And you being in New Jersey, you can't get away from Bruce. You know, it's hard not to listen to Bruce or having Bruce always around you. Being in Louisiana, obviously, I didn't have that connection with Bruce until I moved to New York.
Right.
It's funny, in the '90s, that's when I moved. I moved late '80s into New York, but by the early '90s, I was into Bruce, I was into Billy Joel. Those guys were, New York, New Jersey, East Coast guys, and I really get that sense from them when I was a kid living in Louisiana. And so once I moved up here, it's definitely changed for me.
Yeah, I would understand that. And also because growing up here, Bruce was accessible. He was around. Now, I grew up and still live maybe about an hour away from where he's from Freehold and Asbury Park. I'm a little more further north. But just the fact of knowing that this guy's going to the movies and he's, he was spotted at this pizzeria or, showed up and played, 7 songs with the local bar band at this,
very
at this
famous
place.
For that, yeah.
Nobody done that before. Robert Plant never got up and sang with the local band, as far as I know, or wherever our rock heroes were. I didn't know anything about that by anybody else other than say Bruce.
Yeah, he's the only one I can think of too. Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah.
My number 3 to me is, listen, it's a masterpiece. It's one of his great ones. I don't think I've listened to it often enough. If I listen to it often enough, I might be higher. But to me, Darkness on the Edge of Town is just incredible. I love that album. It's just the opening track and the closing track to me is just perfection. Badlands probably maybe my number 1 favorite Bruce Springsteen song. The way that album just opens up and then you end it with Darkness on the Edge of Town, which is just so brilliant. Obviously Candy's Room and Racing in the Street and The Promised Land, just incredible tunes. Like I said, this is one of those albums, again, Jim, I didn't really get into until later in my life, and it's just God, it's so powerful. It's about loss and resilience and living with broken dreams. I gotta listen to this album a little bit more. Like I said, if I keep listening to this album over and over again, this might be higher. This is a great album, and this is why it's my number 3.
I'm curious to know where your number 1 is now, because I'm trying to figure out your pattern, and I'm like, where's he going?
I'm kind of all over the place. So.
But I like that. That's great, because usually I can kind of sense where people are with their albums, but you're throwing me off, Mike. I like where you're going with this.
Okay, cool.
So where am I at now? So
you're number 2.
We're going to number 2. All right.
Yeah.
So number 2 is Born to Run. Now, the reason behind it is, obviously it's a brilliant album from top to bottom. Yeah. It's one of those albums that there's no reason to skip a track or move the needle or hit the arrow, whatever you want to play it on. It's just as close to rock and roll perfection as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
It has something for everyone. It's so amazingly written. It blows my mind that he wrote this album at 22, 23 years of age. Artists wait their whole entire lifetime to get to a place of maturity to write stories about such things, about characters and complex characters. These are people that have, so many different things going on in their lives to, spend so much time perfecting the perfect sound for the song itself, Born to Run. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of its release, and I was fortunate enough to catch Bruce talking about it at the symposium by the Springsteen Archives and Center for American Music. And he was talking about, it took 9 months to finish one song. Part of it is their fault. It's not. There's a great story behind it, because it's just more about the studio that they were working in at the time, and just he had this sound in his head, and he wasn't quite sure how to get to that place. Mm-hmm. The studio had a lot to do with it. The musicians involved had a lot to do with it as well, and also the writing change. If you look at the original lyrics of that song, it's very different from what we end up with.
Really?
Yeah, Peter Ames Carlin wrote a great book called Tonight in Jungleland. It just came out. It's the making of. It's Mike. It's a great read. I urge every Bruce Springsteen.
I'm writing it down right now. It's Tonight in Jungleland.
Yep, it's a great book. It explains what a dark song Born to Run was before, because he was. He was in a shitty place in his life. The record labels gave up on him. They're not helping him. His manager at the time is, saying, "Hey, we're ready for another album," and they're stalling and not returning his calls. And and in the midst of all that, you're running low on money. You're not getting any kind of help, and you and your band are just touring around the country trying to make a living. And you're trying to keep an optimistic tone, I guess, and trying to keep this thing going. And so it makes sense to me why he was writing some negative or dark things at the time. But through the process of it all, I mean, it's there's songs of hope in that album.
Yeah.
They didn't originally start off there, Mike, but he found hope through some of that. And Jungleland, he talked about recently and said, I don't really know much. I don't really remember much writing it, which to me blows my mind, because it's like a masterpiece.
It really is. It's one of the great end tracks of all time. I mean, it's just to close that album like that. And by the way, this is also my number 2 as well.
Okay.
So we can keep the conversation going. Yeah, I mean, listen, you said it perfectly. There's nothing to skip here. I mean, just every track is great. And again, it's one of those albums where a great opener, a great close, and everything in between is just as good. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, I can't wait to. When did that book come out?
It's out.
Oh, but I'm saying it came out recently, or is it like an older
came
book?
out? Yeah, it came out in August.
Oh wow! Okay, I can't wait to read that. Okay,
and Bruce was involved in the project, so the author Peter Carlin did talk to Bruce about some of this stuff. So this is up to date information, which is what's really, really great about the book as well. Peter does an amazing job writing about it. And he writes a lot of about other bands as well. He's a great author.
Okay.
The other thing I should mention about what's great about Born to Run, like you said, there's no filler in any of that. And but it's also one of the things that I think separates Bruce from other artists. Again, this is also a generational thing. I don't think younger generations would quite understand this. Sequencing, the way the orders of the songs line up, and meeting across the river into Jungleland. There's no other way to do that. You know, I mean, yes, sometimes Bruce performs Jungleland as a one-off, but there's no other way to hear it. If you're listening, whatever device you're listening, even if you're streaming it, Meaning Across the River comes on. Well, you're not skipping to next. There's no random button there. Right. It's going into Jungleland. It's the end of the story.
Right. Yeah. It's like a story. Like you're going from chapter to chapter with these tracks, and you're right. Sequencing is so important in a lot of these albums, and Bruce does a great job with that stuff. Yeah. I mean, and then to me too, Jim. To me, this is a Clarence Clemens just at his best. I mean, just like you said, the solo in Jungleland and everything in between, 10th Avenue Free. I mean, he just shines on this album too as well, and just. If you didn't know anything about Clarence, you'll know him after this album.
And they're absolutely right. And if there's so much, they're making this movie about Nebraska, Deliver Me from Nowhere. And upon reading this book, Tonight in Jungleland, and spending time with Bruce and the band at the symposium and listening to them talk about the making of the album, and how it all went down, starting at this smaller studio and then moving to the record plant in New York City, where they meet this unknown engineer, a guy named Jimmy Iovine, who never engineered a record before in his life. I mean, that you want to talk about a movie. The making of Born to Run could be a movie as well. They finished that album the same day as the tour began. Clarence blew that solo I don't know when it happened, but it was like in the afternoon or whatever. They finished, they jumped in a car. They had a show that night in Massachusetts or New Hampshire. I can't remember exactly. I mean, just the making of that album is so amazing. And the fact that they did it the way they did it, and here we are 50 years later, putting it at the tops of our lists to this day. Right. It's a piece of music magic that will never be repeated.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why it's also my number 2. All right, so you have a beer left, right? You have a third beer there ready for us, and then you also have your number 1 coming up. I'm interested to see where we're going with this.
Okay, so my beer and my number 1 album have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, that's all right.
So for the past few years, I'm in a relationship with this woman who lives in Norway. My girlfriend lives in Norway. Her name is Lillian. And so I've been traveling back and forth to Norway almost on a monthly basis. And I couldn't have picked a better girlfriend or country to go to because they love their beer in Norway. So that's a great thing. Good on Norway.
Love it.
Oh, they don't. It's too cold to grow wine, so you can't.
Yeah, the grapes. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And they do love their IPAs, which is even better.
Love it.
So I have a Norwegian IPA. It's one of their more I guess it would be common IPA. It's called Norsk. It's
wow, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They sell most of their beers in 16-ounce cans over there. It's in English. I just want to get to the point of what kind it is mostly.
Yeah, and by the way, if you want to see some of Jim's beer, he's got some of his stuff on his Instagram.
Yeah,
at Jim Rotolo. That's at Jim Rotolo, Rotolo. Yeah, definitely check that out. You got some great European beers on there. So
yeah, what I did last year was the Advent Christmas calendars.
Yeah,
my girlfriend bought me a Norwegian beer Advent calendar.
Oh.
So every day I opened up a different Norwegian beer from a different brewery. And there's a lot of breweries over there.
Really? Okay.
And I did a tasting each day, all different kinds. You know, there were darks, there were sours, they were all different kinds.
That's like a dream gift for me.
It really was great. I hope she gets me another one because it's we're getting closer to the holidays.
Yeah. Do they use different what makes it stand out? Like, do they use different things or different? Is it the water? Is it different hops that they use? What makes that stand out to you?
Yeah, so their drinking water is great. You just drink from the tap. You don't need to buy bottled water like we do here. I think that has a lot to do with it. They make New England style IPAs. They make California style IPAs. They're not that much different than what we could buy here in the States. But I know they're fans of it. In fact, it's a very big hobby for local people to make their own beer in their garage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a lot of, I think like a lot of guys in like the suburbs, they all sort of make their own beer in their garages, and then they have like beer tastings and things like that. So beer is very popular there. It's great to go into a pub in Oslo. They do have some American beers there. Strangely enough, of all the different mass-produced breweries in America, I find Brooklyn Brewery all over the country.
Really? Interesting.
Whoever did the marketing did an amazing job.
Well, they're one of the beers I get like at my local Stop and Shop, and it's funny you say that because even when we were in Delaware not too long ago, and they had Brooklyn Brewery at their local grocery store. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Brooklyn's you can get a Brooklyn lager and the Brooklyn. I think it's called it's an IPA. I can't remember which one it is.
Okay, yeah.
I think it has something to do with when I see the tap, I guess it has like the gay pride flag on it.
Oh, okay, yes, I know what you're talking about.
I think it's that one. It's great. It's great beer.
But yeah.
but obviously when I go to Norway, I like to drink the local beer. So, this one's really good. This is a Norsk IPA. Like I said, there's a ton of different breweries over there. The only drawback is they don't import too many into America.
Yeah. I gotta ask my distributor because she has a lot of imports from all over. I mean, I've drinking, like you said, from Italy and from a lot of Czech beers and a lot of English pub style ales. I gotta see if she's got stuff from those Scandinavian countries because I would love to try those.
There's also a great one in Iceland, which is also a very I can't remember the brand name there, but I've had it a few times. I flew to Iceland. I was on the flight, Icelandic Air, and then also in the airport they had it. It was also a very good beer. I also did bring this. This is a session IPA from Spain.
Oh wow! Okay. And by the way, the Brooklyn beer you're thinking about, Stonewall Inn.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Stonewall
yes.
Inn.
Okay. I just looked up. Yep.
Yeah, this is a beer from Spain. It's an IPA. I gotta be honest, Mike. I like Spain.
Not so good with the beers?
They need a little work on their beer. They make excellent wines, but they
what doesn't do it for you? What is it?
I think now I only have IPAs to base this on.
Okay.
So I like a good carbonated, like a crispy kind of hoppy IPA. I noticed in the Spain IPAs they could bubble it up a little bit more. We could get a little more carbonation to them. They're a little more on the flat side, and and then I always thought, well, maybe that's the American side of me because we like things bigger and more over the top. But the fact that it's almost like it's like the difference between drinking like a club soda versus like a Pellegrino.
Okay. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. What's the name of that beer?
This one is called Norsk. It's a pretty simple one. It's called Norsk IPA.
Okay. And what about the Spanish beer? I'm interested to see what.
Arum, I think it's called. Put that in front of me.
Arum. I'm just interested. Are you on Tapped at all or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Because they do some great stuff. Here we go. There it is. Yeah. You know what? It doesn't have the greatest rating. You're right. So you're not the only one that thinks that, Jim.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, it's I'm on Tap. It's a great app if you ever you can rate your beers and they give you like discounts on a lot of stuff too. And so usually, if you get like a 3.5 to a 4, it's a solid beer. This is under a 3, so this is you're not the only one. And by the way, I just saw one passing by said the same exact thing you just said.
Really?
It's not carbonated enough.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it might be better if it had more carbonation to it. It just needs a little more of a kick.
Okay.
I didn't mind the flavor of it so much. It was just more of like I feel like this has been sitting out for a while.
Interesting. Okay. I'm interested. I definitely want to try that Norway one. That looks good.
Yeah. Any Norwegian beer you can get your hands on, Mike, I guarantee you'll enjoy them because I think they do. The population. The one thing I noticed about traveling to Norway is they're very efficient people. They have no time to waste. So if they're going to make a beer, they're going to make it the best beer that they can make it. That's what I get out of that. Those people.
That's what you want. Yeah, absolutely. Now, they have actual breweries there, or is it just pubs?
No, there's breweries. There are breweries.
And you've been to
I haven't yet, but I know of a few in the city of Oslo that I would love to check out. I know there's one a little bit further south, near Arendal, which is a southern. I don't want to say beach. It's on the North Sea.
Gotcha.
There's a brewery there I want to check out as well. They exist. They're around.
And your girlfriend is in Oslo. Is that where she is? That the city she's
just a little north of Oslo, but it's a 10-minute train ride into the city, and it's fun going to the pubs there. It's a very different. It's a very different setup than your typical American place, but they do appreciate beer drinkers.
That's awesome. I definitely have to start looking for some of the Norway beers. That's tremendous. All right, number one. I'm so interested in number one.
Number one is Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Okay.
And we're gonna say cheers to Darkness on the Edge.
Yes, there you go.
Now, once again, I have a unique story behind it, and it has to do. It's a story I've told on the air many times. It has to do with the actual song itself, "Darkness on the Edge of Town."
Mm.
To give you the quick backstory, I'm 10 years old. My brother's 12, and due to lack of parenting, my brother joins the Columbia Record and Tape Club.
Oh, sure. I think I still owe them money.
And one day there's a package. For my brother Joe. And inside there's 10 albums.
Oh.
Without my parents knowing.
Great times, right, Jim? I mean, you can't beat those times.
So in those 10 albums, there's some of the, iconic classic rock albums of all times, from Led Zeppelin to The Doors' greatest hits, the first Van Halen record. All of these great albums are in there, which I fell in love with, including this album called Darkness on the Edge of Town. I have no idea what this is. It says Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town. The guy's got black hair and he's wearing a T-shirt. I'm a big fan of Happy Days. He looks like Fonzie. I'm going to take a listen to this. So, not knowing how to really figure out what song to put on, because I've never heard of this guy. So I put on the title track, Darkness on the Edge of Town. It's the last song on the album. I put the needle on there and I listen. And I think it's the third line in a song. Now I hear she has a house up in Fairview. Fairview is the next town in New Jersey where I grew up from. I grew up in North Bergen, New Jersey. The next town over for me is Fairview. So I'm 10 years old. I'm like, what? Fairview. Then I come to find out the guy's from New Jersey. So now I'm thinking to myself, this guy knows where I live. Like, this guy is he's around here. He's got to be somewhere around. And that's kind of where, and I would just listen to that song over and over again, Darkness on the Edge of Town, because it was so familiar to like this. Now I hear she has a house up in Fairview, a town that I would go to the local Carvel and the bakery that was there.
Wow.
And, and then obviously you expand, you start listening to different other songs. You listen to Prove It All Night, you listen to Badlands and The Promised Land and all these other songs. And it's just like, this album just means, it was such a big part of my discovery into music. Because I did look at all those other albums from the Columbia Record and Tape Club, and I was, but like for some reason, it was that album out of all of them that I picked out and decided to play. And it was sort of like my world opened up to music, to rock and roll. Prior to that, I listened to Kiss.
Right.
I'm not knocking Kiss. But Kiss is the perfect music to listen to when you're 9 years old. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a different experience from Kiss to Bruce. Yeah.
And I love Kiss to this day. I can still listen to those albums. But I didn't know if there was anything else outside of Kiss.
Right.
I mean, maybe there was the Bay City Rollers and maybe there was Village People. But
I know how you feel, Jim, because like I said, I listen, back to Elvis. I was an Elvis fan starting at 3 years old. Because my mom played Aloha from Hawaii. She was an Elvis fan. And then from then on, I listened to nothing else but Elvis. So maybe until, like you said, around the age of 10, 11. And that's when, I started listening to some 80s music and stuff like that. So I didn't broaden my horizons for a long time. And, so I know how you feel. So when things open up for you, like,
you find your music.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because I loved Elvis too. My parents played Elvis. I was like Elvis, Barbara Streisand, and like Barry Manilow were on in the house. And, I liked all that stuff, but it wasn't mine.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. And Elvis always was mine, still is today. For some reason, that guy just resonates with me, some of his songs, and just like, not to get into an Elvis conversation, but just, and and Bruce knows. No, Bruce knows what I'm talking about. So,
of course.
Him being a big Elvis fan. And by the way, if you want to see Bruce on an Elvis thing, he does so many Elvis docs. The one I would recommend it's still on Max. It's called The Searcher. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. So Bruce and Tom Petty. By the way, Tom Petty's last appearance on anything is that doc. That he did. So The Searcher Part 1 and 2 is on there, and Bruce is all over it, and he's great on it. So so if you're an Elvis
that was Tom Zimney who did all Bruce's videos, and he's basically Bruce's videographer at this point. Tom Zimney does a great job with all of his work. But Darkness to me was that place. It was that jump off. Like, it's like, wow, this is something that's, and then you were able to go to school and you could talk about it, and like other kids would know a little bit of, maybe not so much then for me, but I could see like the kids around my brother's age, this sounds so strange to like anybody that's under maybe 30, but like, you would rate like your favorite band on your notebook, or stuff like that.
Or get those stickers and put them on your notebook too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the T-shirts, the black T-shirts, and I remember seeing the older kids, and I would see like, oh, that kid, that's who's that? That's Black Sabbath. I think I have a Black Sabbath album. I think I have a Van Halen album. He's got. I didn't know what the Boss was, but I would see the Boss everywhere. On the boys' room wall, there'd be the Boss or whatever.
That's tremendous.
So like, again, to me, Darkness on the Edge of Town, it's a brilliant piece of work. It's definitely up there with Born to Run. People flip their list all the time and make Born to Run 1, Darkness 2. And I have no argument with any fan that wants to do that. To me, Darkness on the Edge of Town isn't just an incredible album. It's the gateway that opened up my whole world into music, into where I am to this day and doing what I do for a living. I don't think any of it would have happened without that album. So the fact that I get to sit down and sometimes talk with Bruce, I've never told him this stuff. But the fact that I get to like hang out sometimes, like I've been to his home and interviewed him, and been at shows backstage and things like that, and it's like, wow, this all came from this one place. So everybody listening to this podcast, music can have a profound effect on your lives.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, you mentioned it beautifully, Jim. It's just like sometimes it might be albums that critically are better, maybe that people like to, but sometimes it's just an emotion and an experience like you had, like you said, with that song Darkness in the Town, just hearing that one little town, and it just resonated with you, and all of a sudden it opened a new world for you. It's stuff like that. That's like I said, I haven't listened to that album enough. I listened to it a lot, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I haven't given that album enough play in my during my play, because like I said, I gotta listen to that more, because that's one of the albums that for some reason got hidden in my world for some reason, and it's only like over the last, I want to say 5-6 years, I've really gotten into that album. And like I said, if we did a top 5 next year, Darkness might be 1 or 2 on my list. That's how great it is. So if you had to guess, what would you think my number 1 is?
All right, let's recap.
Okay. Human Touch, 5.
Right.
Born in the USA.
Okay.
Darkness and Born to Run.
Darkness and Born. So your number 1 album.
Now I'll give you a hint. Remember, I came in this late, so I'm kind of like a newer fan. So, and I came to New York late. So.
Okay. I'm gonna guess The Rising.
You would be absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. Not to get into too deep or too dark here, but and I'm sure you did too. We all lived through 9/11.
Yeah.
So I was working at a radio station, and those planes hit. That plane hit across the street from me. So
where were you?
I was at WOR radio.
Oh wow, you were down there.
Yeah, I was down there. Yeah, I was down there. So we saw the second plane hit from our windows. So yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, but so when that album came out and I first heard The Rising, it just, I'll be honest with you, Jim, I weeped. I mean, I cried, so that album just hit so hard for me. And to me, that album, to me, it's like a roller coaster. You got your happy songs, but then you go into, Into the Fire and just Empty Sky. It's just, oh my God, it's just incredible. Even like, then you go to the joyful stuff like, Mary's Place and, Waiting on a Sunny Day. It's just, like I said, it's a roller coaster of emotions. And that last song, My City of Ruins, when he screams, rise up, man, it just, I got goosebumps even. It just hits hard for me, Jim. That album, I can listen to that album all the time. Yeah, there's a couple songs on there probably I don't want to say skip, but yeah, you could probably just, it's maybe filler, but those 13 out of those 14, 15 songs are just, it hits home for me. And just living through those times and hearing that and getting that album right away, it just hits home for me. And that's why it's my number one. I love that album.
It's a great album, and again, that's one of those albums that could have very easily made it to number 5 with me. It's one of those things you leave off just because you have to pick 5.
Of course,
leave off.
Yeah.
The Rising album, the whole back. I mean, I can remember. So I was working with a radio company, and oh God, I was probably at this point. By 2001, okay, I was working with a different company. But I was working with people that worked with MTV. And I was in Atlantic City, of all places. This is after 9/11. Right. This is like maybe January of 02. And I was at a Goo Goo Dolls concert. And I was sitting there before the concert, and somebody came up to me and some other people that I was with at the time. And they said, I just heard 2 songs from the upcoming Bruce Springsteen album, and it might be the best album he's ever written. And I'm saying to myself, well, that's not possible. Because I know 2 off the top of my head.
Sure, yeah.
That can't be contended with. And I said, what's the album about? And he said 9/11. And I was like, oh, shit, it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, The Rising came out. Being where we were on that day and everything that happened. And the one thing to remember about that, which I know you do for people that live around the area during that time period, the day itself was traumatic enough, but it was not even just the next day. It was the days after. It was the months after. I'm sure you remember seeing the missing flyers that people were looking for their significant others, their family members.
Yeah,
that went on for months afterwards. I think a lot of people forget about that. But that was always the real haunting part of that to me. And that's when I think of the song You're Missing off of The Rising, I think of that. I just had a family on the Wild and the Innocent show last Friday. It was the guy's brother worked for Cantor Fitzgerald. He died on 9/11, helping people. He was a supervisor, I don't know, high up in that business world, helping people get out. And he went back into the building like 3 or 4 times to get people out. And obviously he passed away. His 3 sons were also on the show with me. They're now grown men, but they were little boys at that time. When you go back and listen to that album now, especially for me, seeing those kids now who are awesome young men, it's quite something. It's quite something.
I'm sure.
That album is so powerful, and it came at the right time. It was healing. It was reflecting. It was, it was definitely a combination, Mike, of everything I think we were feeling at that time.
Yeah. It helped me heal a little bit too, that album. I think that's what it did. It helped me heal. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, because you would know better than anybody. My City of Ruins, that was written before 9/11, right?
Yes. It was written about Asbury Park.
That's crazy to me. God, it's Yeah, that album just resonates with me in so many ways. It's it blends grief and faith and resilience. It's like I said, to me that album is like a roller coaster of emotions for me. And you mentioned about track listing, and sequencing. Again, just brilliant. The way it does with Lonesome Day and ends with My City of Ruins, it just and everything in between. It could have been perfectly sequenced for me.
Yeah. Yeah, he just did an amazing job with that. The record is a modern sounding record.
Yeah.
He introduced things like beat loops for the very first time. It was definitely, with the current technology of the day. It wasn't a retro album. It wasn't, the one thing you could always say about Bruce is that he always was moving forward. He never made Born in the USA 2 or Born to Run 2.
Right.
It was always a forward-thinking momentum of songwriting, of music, of technology. And he, with The Rising, I thought what he did there was, I like to think this, and tell me if I'm wrong, Mike. I think there might be now 4 generations or 4 chapters of the Bruce Springsteen music world. I think you have the first chapter, which is him coming out of Asbury Park and Born to Run and Darkness. And I think you get to once you get to Born in the USA is now the next chapter. Born in the USA is chapter 2 till the reunion tour of 99. You could even put The Rising in there. The Rising starts the next chapter. And then after that, I don't know. You could maybe say Wrecking Ball starts that next chapter. Maybe, I don't know. But I always thought a new generation of fans came in after a certain album. It was so obvious with Born in the USA, with MTV. But I think after 9/11 and The Rising, I think that brought in another generation of people into that world.
Absolutely. You're right. Because there was a lot of people that weren't into Bruce who I know loved that album. And like I said, it healed a lot of people. That album, it's a brilliant album. Like I said, it's probably not critically acclaimed like Born to Run or Darkness, but for me, it just resonates with me. And like I said, if I lived in a different time, maybe it would be a different sequence of albums. But The Rising always got to me for some reason.
Yeah, I will say I want to mention one more album, Mike.
Please.
Letter to You. Is an excellent album from start to finish. I think it's one of those. Unfortunately, I feel like amongst the Bruce Springsteen fans and fans in general, I feel like the album got lost because it came out during COVID.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I don't think that it gets the proper appreciation it deserves because because I think our minds were elsewhere at that time. There was a lot going on in November of 2020. We were thinking about a lot of different things. Our country was in a really interesting, we were at an election, there was all that going on. And Bruce Springsteen puts out this album of reflection and friendship and all of these great things that we can all relate to. And the music's amazing. And Bruce and the E Street Band recorded it in 5 days.
Wow.
In the fall of 2019. And they were all set and ready to go out on tour and promote that album. But we had to wait 3 years to hear that stuff performed live. And I think by that time it happened, 23 is when it came out. The tour started. So
that's a great point, Jim. I've listened to that album a few times. It does feel like a late career masterpiece to me. Like you could put that alongside Rising and Magic as like that. He can still catch that lightning in the bottle a little bit with his albums.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's focused around death, which nobody really wants to sit and listen to.
Right.
But I mean, the song again, the songwriting is brilliant. It's relatable to anybody that's ever lost somebody. The music from the E Street Band is always top notch, and I just think that it just the timing of it came where it did, and just I think it's I would like to make it an honorable mention into my top 5. And I'm hoping that somewhere along the line, now that we're so many years removed, and the tour was so great over the past 3 years, that I hope people go back and listen to that album as well. Because I think it needs more appreciation than it did at the time.
Yeah,
that's
good point. I love Ghost. Ghost is probably my favorite song from that album. Yeah, that's just and that talks a little bit about the loss of his bandmates, right? That song a little bit. Yeah,
it was the one of the first bands he had joined, the Castiles, and there's the last remaining member of the band that's alive now is Bruce, and he wrote a song called "Last Man Standing." I mean, just these, again, these are not happy subjects,
no,
but it's a really, really powerful album.
Yeah, I always wanted to ask you this. So how long you been with E Street Radio?
So I've been with it since the beginning. I've been with Sirius now for I'll be 22 years in December. The channel started as a pop-up for the Born to Run box set, and then it went away. So it was only, I think I ran for a month, and all we did was just play songs. That's all we did was just play the catalog. And then it came back during the Magic Tour. And so I was behind the scenes with that since 2007. So as far as my on-air career started with the channel, it was at the end of 2011 was when I came up with this idea to do a Friday night request dedication show.
Right.
And well, I initially wanted it to be about tailgating.
Yeah.
Well, it really could, because that's what it was. I am not a New York Jets fan, but I was a New York Jets season ticket holder for 6 years because my friends were. And we had the best tailgates. And it's fun. And I thought about, well, what if we did this with music? Because if you tailgate a concert, you go there and you park next to somebody and you pull out your cooler and your grill and somebody does the same thing. And what do? You talk about what you're going to see.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to see Bruce. Oh, yeah. Oh, this person's in their first time. Oh, wow. Oh, I've seen him 62 times. Oh, wow. That's great. What's your favorite? Oh, I like Darkness. I love Badlands. Oh, my God. And you have these conversations. And you start talking about this stuff. And I thought, what if we did this on the radio? What if we had a tailgate party where Bruce Springsteen fans can come? And if I was in a group of people in a parking lot, or somebody else was, and said, what's the best Bruce Springsteen songs from the 1970s? And everybody will just give you feedback and tell a story and all that. And that's really the premise of what the show was about.
Do you ever just get away from Bruce for a couple of days and just listen to something else? And if you do, what would your choice be?
Oh, yeah, I love music. The funny thing is, it's like, as much as I love Bruce Springsteen in the 1980s, I was a metal kid.
Yeah.
I loved,
it seems like a lot of Jersey guys that I know, whether it be the Al Gatulos, the Dave LaGreccas, the Don LaGreccas, all metal guys.
I've been to an Iron Maiden concert with the LaGreccas.
So yeah, it seems like that was the metal was the thing back then. Yeah,
it was. It was for at least for boys. It was. It was like growing up, with AC/DC and the Stones and the Doors and Zeppelin, and I'm a big Van Halen fan. I love.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of my favorite bands outside of Bruce, and I didn't care who sang. To be honest, I just love that music.
Well, except for Gary Sharon, but that's another.
That's one of those. You made an effort. Thanks for coming by. Gary's a tremendous singer.
Yeah, I love Extreme. Yeah, I saw Extreme, a while back, and they sound great still. But the stuff with Van Halen just didn't work for me. I get it. I didn't.
I tried as I could. But I've been listening to some country music. The only country artist that I've really gravitated towards and I've become a big fan of is Kenny Chesney. I kind of put him in that same category as Bruce Springsteen as a songwriter. And I kind of listen to his music.
No Shoes Radio is great. Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to it, and to me, it just, people have this thing about country, and I'm like, have you listened to new country? It's classic rock.
It is, yeah.
It just sounds like classic rock. I mean, I listen to half the country artists. It sounds like Def Leppard to me.
Yeah.
This isn't your daddy's old twanging kind of sound. No. And for those people that like that, that's great. But I think
more guitar forward now these days.
What's that?
The country more guitar forward.
Oh, definitely.
With the electric, yeah,
definitely.
Agreed.
I like, and Zach Brown band's excellent. I've seen him in concert a few times. So no, I definitely listen to a lot of different other kinds of music, and No Shoes Radio is definitely one of those. I was fortunate enough to I was at Kenny Chesney's concert at MetLife Stadium last summer, and Zach and Kizzy, who are the great duo that do No Shoes Radio, they put me on to talk a little bit about it.
That's
so
awesome.
As much as I'm a member of the E Street Nation, I'm hoping for dual citizenship to the No Shoes Nation. Hopefully I can jump on there again and do some stuff with them.
Well, Jim, this has been great. What is your top 5 Bruce Springsteen album? Please comment down below. Again, tell us what you got coming up in the next couple of weeks on E Street Radio.
All right. So what we have coming up, we'll have another episode of The Wild and the Innocent with Jim Rotolo. That's going to be Friday at 6 p.m. East, 3 West. I have a brand new, by the time this airs, that episode of Growing Up with Jim Allen, the CEO of Hard Rock International, that'll be available on the app. And Deliver Me From Nowhere, the film coming soon with Jeremy Allen White, playing Bruce Springsteen. I can't reveal exactly what we've got coming up, but you'll be hearing about it soon on E Street Radio. So
I can't wait. I can't wait for the album.
And we'll see what Bruce's involvement is in that as well.
Yeah, love a little tease. So
stay tuned, as they say.
Yes, can't wait for the movie. Can't wait for Electric Nebraska. Can't wait for what's coming up with Bruce. Jim, you're brilliant, man. Thanks so much for doing this with me today. Appreciate it.
Mike, this was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much. Anytime you want to do another top 5, I'm down for it.